Recording has begun.
Recording has begun. All right, everybody, welcome to the West University Historic Zone Advisory Board meeting for Tuesday, March 21st. It is 6:31 p.m. and we are ready to get started. So first order of business is just a roll call. Jim Glock.
Present.
Darcy.
Present.
I just saw Damon Turner is connecting. Okay, Rachel.
Here.
Betsy.
Here.
And Damon, welcome aboard. Can you say here? No. There, Damon? Not quite got his audio working, maybe. Oh.
Oh.
Nope, Damon. Damon. Oh, there he is. Yep, there he goes. Can you hear me, Damon?
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. We'll count that as present. All right. First order of business, approval of the minutes from February 22nd, 2023. I don't know if everybody's got a chance to look at them. Can I have a motion to approve?
This is Rachel Sura. I motion to approve.
Okay, second.
Darcy Hazelbaker, motion to second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks,
Aye.
Darcy, Jim,
Aye.
Rachel,
Aye.
Damon, Betsy, did you say aye?
I did. Aye.
Okay, we have unanimous consent on that. Perfect. Call to the audience. Gabe, was there any call to the audience?
There was no call to the audience. There's no public comments.
No public comments. Okay, that gets us to the beat of the meeting. Item 4, starting with TSPRM 0323000219 444 East University. Who is speaking for Time Market?
I think it's me, Jude Cook.
Jude, okay.
Yep.
All right, you have the stage. Do you need to
Okay.
share your screen?
I was hoping you guys got the packet that they sent me.
Right. So,
I can share the screen easily if
Thank you.
that would be beneficial if I was given rights. So
that's up to you, Gabe.
Soon as I figure out how to do that. Oh,
Yep, there you go.
there is.
I
That's
just
it.
did it. Thank you. So it looks like I'm in control of the presentation. So just let me know when to scroll to the next presentation, if you would.
Sure. I was contacted by Peter from Time Market, and what he did was he provided me a photo of the historic sign that had been on the Time Market back in the 40s. And what he was looking at was whether we could reproduce that and put it up on the building. And I proposed one that matches the original size, and I proposed a second one that was slightly smaller. And Peter was talking to one of the board members and said that it would be good to run it past to at least have a courtesy review to see if this is worth pursuing. He's looking at reproducing the sign that we had in a historic photo, and I've worked up to a point as good as I can right now as far as what the basic sign would look like. It would have had neon on it back in those days, and I don't have a good reference on color, but I think we've got the shape and the basic design down fairly close. It was mounted right up on the front of the building, like what's represented down in the bottom photo there. And I can't tell if that's the larger version.
No, that's the larger.
That's the
Yeah.
larger version. And then there's a smaller one that puts it above the canopy there.
Okay,
I'm showing the smaller version now. Here's the larger version.
can I stop everybody for just a minute? I just want to do a kind of a point of order sort of thing. Jude, are you considering this to be a courtesy review, or are you asking for board approval?
Courtesy review at this point.
A courtesy review, okay.
Wanted to get a
Alright.
feel whether there was an appetite for it or not. That's
Right.
the historic photo of the sign that just came
Right.
across the screen there. No, there's legwork to do at the city, but Heather at least allowed us to get these basic permit drawings put together to have you guys take a look at it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so right now, what you're
I'm looking for
Black.
looking for feedback.
feedback, and
Yeah.
you're thinking the sign originally was neon? Is that kind of what you're thinking of going with going forward, or are you?
Yeah, it would have been it would have been neon, and it has every indication of being neon.
Mhm.
And that's what Peter was hoping to recreate.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I personally like the bigger sign. I think it's more in scale with the building versus the smaller one.
I agree.
Agreed. And if you're gonna restore something to its original, then why not just do it right and,
Yeah, it's great that you
Go
found
with-
that photograph.
yeah,
It's a great photo.
I love it. I think this is a great idea and I'm excited to see you guys work on it.
I agree. I like it.
Tell them thank you. I think it's a real addition to the neighborhood.
Can I ask Peter what his preference would be, smaller or bigger?
Oh, my preference I think that the scale is better on the larger one, and it's the way it was originally, so I think that's a better idea. So I'd prefer that, and we proposed an alternate for the smaller one just because.
Right.
It wouldn't impact the roof. So, I mean, whatever this is called, I'm not an architect, so.
No, I mean, it's gonna have to have a tie-in at the roof because the original one did. But I don't think we would be modifying to any degree. It right where the sign comes across. It's got to have some kind of a tie there because the only brackets and braces they have are up around where it meets the clock.
There's existing penetrations around where that, last time I walked by there, it looked like right where
Yeah,
behind the clock where there's an arch a little bit, it looked like there were some penetrations.
I think in one of the photos or when I was down taking a look at the building, I think you're right. I think there are still some of the original brackets up on the building.
I
Okay.
imagine if you needed additional stabilizing, if you go back to the original photo, it just shows like the three brackets there. But I imagine you might be able to tie one in at the very bottom, straight across below the roof line, or
And
below the little eyebrow.
that was my take also.
And I don't think that would take away from the design of it.
No, I think we're fine.
And then what's the plan for the sign that's there right now?
I think that was part of the motivation to do something. I think the other one, the face has gotten really, really faded, and I'm pretty sure Peter's just gonna say, let's get that out of there because this is gonna do a lot more than that one will. Be a much
Yeah.
more effective sign.
Yeah, we painted that, I would say, probably 15 years ago, and it was in need of a repaint, and I've had this picture for over a decade and just really wanted to recreate this sign. So I would just get rid of that
Yeah.
sign there now.
Yeah, Peter, I appreciate that. I guess I'd like to see that sign, the old one, go away, and then whatever restoration could be done to the stucco under there to make sure that the whatever is called, the frame or whatever, gets restored. It's probably got a little bit carved out when that other sign got put on.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah. And that photograph, you need to take that photograph and have it framed in the store so people can see it.
We've got a few old photographs framed in the store, and I think that's a good idea to get that one done as well.
Yeah, I think people would appreciate it. It's kind of cool. Kind of makes me think you want to reproduce the paint job on the west side too.
You know, I was gonna go with baby steps, and I would like to do that paint job on the west side as well. I think it's just fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. So, and
Not that it matters.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say, what color do you think the neon was originally?
Oh, boy. Peter, do you know the period of time that photo was from?
Well, based on the cars, that's the mid 40s.
Okay.
Based on the trucks that are parked out front. So
In the 30s, your choice of color of neon back in the 30s was clear red, and that was it. By the 40s, I'm guessing they had expanded colors by then. I can do a little bit of research and see if I can find anything. I don't have a point of reference, so it gets to be a matter of probably trying to just make some choices and, you know, see what we can come up with for it. I mean, there's 100 colors out there to use,
Yeah,
and I hesitate to guess because I can't tell. The only thing, if we can find any other photos, one of the hints you can get is if you can actually see the glass, and if the glass is a dark color, that'll tell you it might be classic glass. It could be ruby red. I'm guessing there's a real good chance it was probably had some clear red on it, maybe white. I'd have to do white. Yeah, you know, the clock up there would have had a halo behind the bezel,
Mhm.
and that's what I'm picturing would happen here.
Cool.
And I can't quite tell those little black big segmented pieces that run down there. I can't quite tell what that represented, but I'm going to study the photo more, and we're probably going to come back through and talk to you guys again before we actually get to, you know, we'd have to come back for a formal review, but I wanted this feedback before we went to that.
Cool. Yeah, I think it looks great. I like the larger sign too, so.
I like the larger sign. I think really, given that you've got a photograph from wherever, the 1940s, that has the larger sign, that's really the way to go, I think.
All right.
So I guess that brings a question I asked to Jody earlier today, and she didn't have a chance to get back to me. But I think signs are supposed to be less than 40 square feet. And this is quite a bit larger. And I'm kind of hoping that if, for historical reasons, we want the larger sign, we can get an exception to that.
The code has, and this is going outside of normal code, but the code does have an allowance for what they call a single sign design option, which allows us more flexibility. And that's one of the things I'm going to have to approach with the city to see what they'll accept.
I mean,
It's typically based on foot of frontage, but in that neighborhood, you know, I'm not sure what the zoning is, but there may be some challenges, but that's, again, one more thing we're going to have to look at.
well, and I think that might be somewhere where historic could come into play, because we are allowed to waive certain code things like setbacks and whatnot. So that might be something that we can waive, is the sign size.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping we can do that too. I mean, I really do believe your photograph is a compelling reason to waive it for historic purposes.
So the way this is agendized, can we save him a step by considering this beyond a courtesy review and a minor review? Or I don't know the
There's
process.
not enough detail here quite yet. We kind of want to see a little bit more. My opinion, I do want to see more specificity on what the treatment's going to be for the old sign and how the new sign will be attached. Because I think right now that's kind of conceptual. That's actually important for us too, is exactly where the penetration is going to be in the existing building.
Okay,
And
I'm just trying to save the burden of the client of having to come back to us since we're, it sounds like unanimity and support here, so.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jim. I think they're gonna have to come back one more time with more detail and you know, it may just not be that much more work, but I think there are a few more things we want to see.
Well,
And that's fine.
do we need formal motions for a courtesy review?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think I'd like the record to state that we all agree that we prefer option A, the larger sign. And in fact, probably to help Jude and Peter, you know, foot stomp that for historical purposes, we believe we want to go with the larger sign in case they run into any barriers with the city, yeah.
And I think that would be help when when I go back to talk to the city, that you guys have already agreed that the larger sign's more appropriate. So if that was in writing, I think that would help more than anything.
Well, I think we can make that part of the minutes of today's meeting, even though it's only a courtesy review, right, Darcy?
Yeah, I have it in the minutes already.
And, you know, for whatever it's worth, if someone from the city, because when we normally do signs, they're normally minor reviews that I participate in, and then there's 1 or 2 people out of the sign department that I speak with, and, you know, we can have that conversation if necessary to support it. The other thing that I didn't mention that I want us to see next time, and Jude, I know you're planning on doing it, is what's going to be illuminated and what's not. And,
Yeah. And I'm not totally sure right now myself, but yeah, I'll get
Right.
those noted out.
Right. Those levels of detail are the things we need to do a kind of a final approval. But in terms of the concept and in terms of the size in A, I'm kind of speaking for the board here, but I think we all kind of like that one better.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board?
No,
Nope.
thank
Nope,
you.
nope. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I love it.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks so
for your-
much. Thanks for your time, guys.
Look
You bet.
forward to it.
Appreciate it. All right. See
All
ya.
right.
All right, moving on, item 4B, SD 032300033903 North Fifth Avenue. And I see Bill Mackey on here. Bill, are you presenting?
Yep.
There you are. Hey,
How's it going?
good.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's good.
You should be able to just share your screen. I didn't change any settings.
Got it. I assume you guys can see the screen now.
Yeah, I can see it.
So this is an addendum to the previously approved project at 903 North Fifth Avenue, HPZ 22006. Which, can you see that I switched over to the original documents?
I mean, what we're seeing is a
Page G1.
That's all right. It doesn't matter. So this basically, there's 3 things that are being done on this property because it's under construction right now. The first thing is the window and door there's window and door modifications to the west addition on the west elevation, the south elevation, and the north elevation. There's a proposed greenhouse to be sited to the north of that west addition to the existing structure. And then there's a couple changes to the site walls that are along the south side of the property. And just to be clear, like none of the materials or the details are changing on this project. It's really just, especially with the West addition, it's really just the rearrangement of windows and doors, and the addition of shade over one of the doors. So for the west elevation, up top is the plan that was approved, and it shows a door with two windows on either side of it. And so you can see the approved west elevation here with the door in the center and the two windows on either side of it. And then what the owner's proposing, because of some interior changes, is one, a larger door with a side light, and then just one window on either side of the door, placed pretty much in a similar position as the other window. And then the other modification to this elevation would be providing an overhang at the door that's similar to the construction that is found on the existing east elevation, which is the entry to the house. And the reason that this overhang is being placed is to help protect as much as he can, because it's a west elevation, the wood door that he's placing there.
Okay. So if you can go back just for a second, those are the only changes. So that even though there's detail that's in the approved elevation that isn't in the one you're proposing, like the louvers, that's actually carrying forward too.
Yeah, these are the only changes.
Okay, cool.
And so then on the north elevation of the west addition, instead of two windows being placed to the west of the existing door, they're proposing placing three windows. And then finally, on the south elevation of the west addition, the furthest east window will be, the sill height will change on that, and be a 2.0 by 3.0.
Is there something going on the interior to drive that?
It's a shower.
It's a shower. Okay, it's a shower. Oh, so will the glass be frosted then, or how would that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And then the site changes, the two changes that occurred here, you see this gray thing. This is the west addition that we were just looking at. Just to the north of it will be placed a small greenhouse. It'll be placed about 25 feet north of the existing house. And you can see the drawings down here for that greenhouse. It's all made by wood frame construction with cedar. And it will have clear corrugated panels for the wall, the space above the Pecky cedar boards, and then have a craftsman style kind of door that enters into it. And then the rock wall that is located right here, this is the historic rock wall that was never completed. He's going to complete it at the same height that the rock wall was done in the original construction. Let me get a closer view of that. So here you can see that's the original rock wall, and he's just going to continue that height along this edge here where the rock wall is. And then the wood fence that you see here with the sign on it, that's going to be bumped out in this red line where it's dashed. That part will be moved out to next to the rock wall and then kick back just for a little bit more yard space.
Okay, so the rock wall, I don't remember anymore. Is that, what is that made out of? Is that basalt or something?
Yeah. It's the A Mountain stuff.
May Mountain stuff, okay. And then the fence, I mean, I recognize, I see there's an existing wood picket fence. Is your proposal that as you move it, you're gonna keep it as a wood picket fence?
Correct.
So I hate to complicate things, but that, as I recall, that wood picket fence was installed when the previous property owner had a zoning violation for stored vehicles in his backyard. And I don't believe the Historic Review Commission was functioning at that time. And so I don't know if it's ever been approved.
Well,
And so if it's going to be moved, then I think that it needs to be subject to review.
right. And unfortunately, a wood picket fence is one thing that's explicitly called out as not allowed. Are you guys open, Andy? Are you open to the idea of a different material for that fence?
I was gonna try to keep it the exact same that's there. It's cedar and it kind of goes with the house. And there's a lot of it all the way around. It's not only there, but on the west face of the property and the alleyway too. And yeah, we actually had the okay before, Rick. Can anybody see my cursor on the screen? No. Okay. All right. So fence to be moved to the south 8 foot. There it is. The cursor is right there. So just to the right of that no trespassing sign, we got approval to go ahead and put more wood picket fencing right there to the right of that no trespassing sign, right on that same. Yep, right there. And so there was, and we got that approved before, Rick, and all we were going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the same wood picket fencing that we had from the alleyway and move some over there because we're trying to go ahead and locate the old wood. But we'd like to go ahead and keep the same. I couldn't imagine changing it. I kind of like it. Can we maybe try to vote on it that we can go ahead and keep it? Because I mean, you guys already accepted it before.
I don't. Well, okay. Well, let's open it up to the board for comment.
We could just start in order of things that were mentioned and start with the addition and the changes to the
Okay,
windows, the doors, so we can kind of go methodically,
Yeah.
maybe.
okay, that's a good idea.
I don't see any issue with the changes to the doors and windows.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm okay with them too.
Me neither.
Just a point of clarification, the door is going to have a 45 for the little parapet that sticks out above the door. The drawing shows vertical elements, so those will be columns that support the end of that little parapet, or will it be the 45-degree
It'll be just like the detail that's at the front door, Jim. So
Okay.
the cedar shingle will wrap that line. And there'll be a beam that comes out
Right.
and then the 2x framing for the roof.
So that isn't a column then that is leading down.
It's a projection from the face of the facade.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
I
okay.
just couldn't
Got it.
tell. It's not 3D. I'm looking.
Sorry.
Because I would, I mean, if he needed to have a 3D or a 45-degree angle to support that roof, I'm okay with that. That's good. It's just not clear.
As far as the carpenter is concerned, it's not necessary.
How far is that sticking out?
I was afraid you were going to ask that, Rachel.
Sorry.
I can't remember how far it is sticking out. It's it's not as far as the overhang of the main roof.
Okay. That's probably why we're concerned if it needs a elbow bracket or not, or knee bracket, whatever they call it.
Well, I would support a knee bracket if needed. So if we can give him that flexibility, should realize he needs it, I'd like to offer that if I can.
Okay, and then the next issue is the fence, or was there one other thing between the doors and windows and the fence?
Well, the greenhouse.
The greenhouse.
Oh, the greenhouse.
The greenhouse, yeah.
I don't have a problem with the greenhouse either.
Same,
neither.
looks good.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I
Okay.
think it looks pretty nice. Cool.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Damon.
I just had a question on some of the windows, or maybe we should go through them one by one, but it looked like either like the aspect ratio of some of them changed or something. Not this
Yeah,
page,
what-
but maybe.
I think there was the drawings said that a 5-foot window height was in the drawings, but I think during the last review, 4-foot was reviewed and approved. I wasn't part of it, so I'm not sure. But yeah, all the windows on the west addition are 4 feet tall and not 5 feet tall.
Okay, I don't take any exception to that, though I would think you guys want it documented here, assuming we're going to approve it, so that you have.
Yeah, all the windows that are located here say what the size of them are, so I'm not. Well, I guess, they're all dimensioned and they're all sized, so if you approve it, you approve that.
Okay, yeah, I see your point. I see.
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
I'm not concerned about clarifying it verbally. It's in the documents.
Okay, I just want to make sure people understand they know what they're approving, and I think it's on all sides.
Yeah.
And
Bill,
I'm not sure.
on the G4 drawing that we're looking at right now, the window, nope, that one right there. The window on the bottom to the left, is that a 4-foot window?
Oh,
Yeah, it'll be a 4-foot window.
Yeah, because I think on the drawing above, it's a 5-foot. So you might,
They were drawn incorrectly, from my understanding.
oh, so you think we originally approved 4-foot? I guess you said that.
I think you approved it. I think that was, I don't want to say anything actually about that.
Well, for the record, let's just say that we want, that should be a 4.0. I guess you've got it as a 4.0 window now. We're gonna from 2.5 to 2.30. That one's not explicitly called out in the drawing you're asking us to approve. So maybe we just say that that's a 4.0, 2.0 by 4.0 window
Okay.
in the minutes. Just to cover your bases in case the original drawing said something else.
I appreciate it, and I think Andy appreciates that even more.
Okay. All right. So that's the greenhouse and the windows and the door.
Before we talk about the wood fence, I had a question about the rock wall.
Oh, I was gonna go to the rock wall next, so go ahead, Damon.
So do we know the history on it? Is that a wall that was built and then taken down at some point, or was it intentionally partly built this way? What's the
From
story historically?
My understanding, it just wasn't finished. It probably was going to be built to the height of the other rock walls. I mean, that's conjecture as much as saying it's, you know, it was supposed to be like that. I can only assume it was supposed to be built. There's a footing, there's all this, you know, and I've never seen a rock wall built like that one. So I think it was going to be built up at the same height as the other walls.
Are there any pictures or anything showing that it was like this during the period of significance?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think that it was built originally and it just wasn't finished. And so, you know, either you think it should stay like that because it's like a marker of whatever, or you can finish it out as the height of what they originally intended, is my guess.
Damon, just to clarify, the stone that you see there is actually embedded in concrete. You can kick each one of those stones and it's not moving. So the intention was to go ahead and build it. And I don't know why they didn't finish it, why they didn't do it, but it's a footer. It's there.
I understand what you're saying. I think there's two sides to the argument. Some people would take the position that even if it's a quirky mistake, it's historically significant that it was done that way and it should be left that way. Some people would take that position. Some people would take the position of, oh, they probably just, you know, ran out of money and never completed it and were completing their historical work. I don't know what the right answer is, but I think you guys are taking the position, the latter. And I think the board should either agree with that or not agree with that.
I think it's kind of interesting that there is the column or the little pier at the end, and then it actually also goes back to the fence or the house. I don't know what that tells us about it, but the only other place where there's the column is at the front. The columns are at the front door and the corner when you're looking at the street view. I don't know if I feel really strongly either way, whether it gets finished or not. I guess my question would be, if you did finish it, what would you do with that little jog that goes back to the house? Would you bring that up to that height also?
Are you talking about near the no trespassing sign?
Yeah, where from that pier, it goes back, right? Yeah, exactly.
Is that Rachel or is that?
Oh, that's Rachel.
It's Rachel.
Rachel talking.
Yeah, Rachel. So exactly where that no trespassing sign is, and where you see the metal post, we would actually we're asking for that wood fencing to be moved out. And I can put the stone, it's 8 feet. So either way, however you guys see it, it's not going to affect anything because there's going to be the intention is to go ahead and have the fence there anyways. But to finish it off, I'd probably finish it off just because we have some Tacomas that are going in there to be able to go ahead and just kind of finish off that little corner.
And so your intention would be to bring up that lava rock wall to 24 inches or whatever that is in that sort of L shape, and then put your wood fence behind it?
Behind it, correct.
Okay.
How close is the wood fence going to be to the stone wall?
Probably within 6 inches. There's a footer there, so we can only get so close to it.
Would you finish the end off at the far end by that trash can with another pier?
knowing me, I would. I think the cornerstone is magnificent, and I think those big old honking pieces of stone are just tremendous. It makes the property just stand out in all those tremendous stones. And believe me, it's not something that I'm doing anytime soon. I just hope I can do it before I can't walk anymore.
Okay, well, let's kind of wrap then on, I mean, I'm neutral. I guess I agree with Damon's point that we're being asked to make a decision one way or the other on how this is either left as it is or restored to what somebody thinks it might have intended to be. I'm neutral on it. I mean, I can support either way. I don't know. I mean, Rachel, I think you've said the same thing. Maybe let other board members err on.
If this was a historic landmark, I think that conversation would be very important.
Yeah.
But since this is just a contributing property to a historic district, it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Or are we approving the moving of the fence with this?
Well, right now,
We
I
haven't
just
gotten
think
there yet.
we haven't gotten there. Well, I wanted to tie off the rock wall. Does anyone object on the board to building that out to whatever it is, 24-inch height?
No,
I don't really object to building it up. I feel like though it would be weird to have the double fence. Like, I don't know that we can totally separate these two things completely. And if you're going to have this second fence, I don't know if it would be kind of nice to keep this historic record of this partial rock wall and then have your fence behind it. If you weren't going to have this second fence, then it kind of argues more to have the taller rock wall. I don't know. I mean, I can really probably be convinced either way.
Yeah, this is Damon. I kind of object to it. I think
Okay.
in order for us to approve it, we should, the proposer should show that it used to be that way.
Damon, that I don't know if I agree with that from a historic preservation viewpoint. I mean, if there is
We can
a
have different
fence, right?
opinions.
I mean, I understand if for like a cathedral, when they have two different towers or something, you don't change the tower back. But this is a 24-inch tall property boundary rock wall that's very standard throughout the neighborhood, and they just didn't finish it on this property. I don't think there was like an intent or a specialness because of that, you know. Like, I think you're making it as if it's a incredibly important part of the property, and I'm not sure it needs to be looking like that. And plus, you can do reconstruction or actually new construction to match historic fabric in cases like this. So
I mean, one way we could address it is like how you address additions and historic properties with some sort of reveal or delineation of where the existing rock wall was and where the new wall.
And Darcy,
so maybe there can be a cool detail there or something.
There could be, or you can just it's going to look different. I mean, it's not going to be done with the same age of rock. It's not going to be done with the same mortar. And very often when you do projects like this, just the construction technology makes it be of its own time and place.
Well, sure, but so that might make the case for even making it even more clear, so it doesn't just look like an okay addition to an old rock wall. It's clearly going to have a distinguishing difference between old and new.
I've seen many cases be that what I just said, Darcy, where it's you know, the construction technology differentiates it. And that's accepted, usually.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
the larger question is like, what's the intention for extending the wall and then having a second fence wall?
So I can answer that. So if I had my pick, I would be moving the wooden fence out. It gives us another 8 feet to the south part of the addition to be able to, we're gonna have a grove of citrus trees there. And you can actually see that the concrete, what do they call that? The bed is already there. I was gonna go ahead and just utilize the bed to be able to go ahead and put as a planter on the inside of the property line. And so that's the intention, is to go ahead and move the fence exactly 32 feet of it, exactly 8 feet to the south.
Yeah, and so back to the subject of the rock wall, my position hasn't changed. But on the subject of the wood fence, Rick, I think you said earlier that wood picket fences are prohibited, but I don't think I see that in our design guidelines. So I'm not sure if I misunderstood you.
Well, it
But-
says, do not use chain link, unpainted redwood, rough cedar, stockade, post rail, and sump block.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's in there. It's pretty explicit, and I'm looking at the one that we marked up just in case there's a chance that we subsequently changed our mind on that, but it's still in there.
Well, so I think it references wood fences, though, in the first paragraph. It says, since the 19th century, fences and low walls have defined West University front yards. Wood picket and wrought iron fences were the most common fence materials. So I think it might just be trying to exclude those particular species or something, or maybe it's the rough, or I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
I don't.
it could be, because, you know, now that I'm looking at it, it's specifically unpainted redwood or rough cedar. So
Yes.
you make an interesting distinction.
Agreed. I thought it was always meant to deter like the Home Depot, you know, buy it as it is fencing and just throwing that up.
Yeah, and I guess if that's unclear in our guidelines, we should probably clear it up.
Yeah, I was making a note to that effect right now.
Yeah. But I mean, note 1 is maintain your wood picket or wrought iron fence. So I think we must allow wood fences.
So this was before the board before to be able to go ahead and add that, I don't know, 20 feet or 18 feet of the fencing in front of the master, exactly to the right of the no trespassing. You guys had approved that before with the exact same material of the wooden fencing, just to make a note.
Yeah, I recall.
Andy, will you be extending that fence? Will you continue that 20-foot extension if you're pulling the fence out towards the road? Or are you going to draw that back to that trespassing sign?
Betsy, I'm going to go ahead and keep it at that level, because that's that's where the master is and the windows, and I want it to be away from the street. But that other part where the no trespassing sign is, we could definitely go ahead, and there's a definite barrier there to be able to go ahead and pull it out. And so we would go
So
ahead.
you'll have an L-shaped fencing then, is what you're saying?
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
Adding the stonework going in that 8 feet or not, it's irrelevant. Either way you guys pick is fine, or however you want to do the stone, we can have however, but the fencing would be kind of neat to be able to go ahead and do, to be able to go ahead and get the plants started so they can go ahead and start getting planted trees.
Well, I think we come back then to, you know, Damon has obviously, you know, made his case or made his point on the wall, the salt wall. But I think also we've kind of heard from a couple board members about the strangeness, my words, of taking that wood fence and moving it and then raising the wall to 2 feet and then moving the two of them within 6 inches of another. kind of an odd look.
I mean, I don't think that it's that big of a deal. I just wanted to know if that was the intention. I also think maybe to kind of appease the, you know, as Darcy was mentioning, like different material situation, maybe if they did raise the basalt wall, and then maybe if the cap of that wall, rather than being basalt, was like a concrete cap or something, would that sort of indicate this is the new portion of basalt wall versus the old, starting from that pier?
I don't think that's appropriate. We
Yeah.
can replicate when something is there and we can, that's allowed. You don't have, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not,
Right. Okay, I just throwing it out there.
But you're saying replicate, but it was never there. You're also saying, so it's not a replicate.
but we can replicate, of course, Damon, but we have the construction just to the right.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's not a replication if it was never there.
Replicating
mean,
the
I think-
construction.
I think the easiest thing, I mean, again, we're a board and we would vote, so my opinion alone doesn't matter, but I would have no issue with you moving the wood fence 8 feet out. I take exception to putting a rock wall where there used to not be one. That's just Damon's opinion. We can vote on whatever we want to vote on.
I think, though, to your point, Damon, that kind of then makes sense for the wood fence to be there. You know, if you keep just that footprint of the lava wall or the rock wall, and then the wood fence comes out, you know, there's like a reason the wood fence is there, more or less.
Agreed.
I would also be worried about people using that new wall to jump over the fence. That's just a homeowner that lives a block away from you. That would be a thought that pops in.
All right,
Do you have anything else to add?
I'm gonna come back to Darcy because I know you'd made a few points earlier. What are your thoughts, Darcy?
I'm more inclined to approve the rock wall than the bump out.
Can I
Okay.
take notes? Get a tally going?
Yeah. I
We
know
got-
you're-
We got rock
But you
wall
don't-
and fence as shown.
You don't need unanimous approval.
I know.
He doesn't really even need our approval at all.
I think it's like 4-1 in both situations.
You know,
Yeah,
my only observation is, why are we even bothering worrying about the window if there's gonna be a fence in front of it and you can't see it?
Well, because the fence
Well,
can come
and-
down.
No, and the fence was not there when the building was established. And I think a lot of neighbors have made an effort to make what fences they put up opaque so that people can enjoy the historic view of the homes. And from a safe by design perspective, the cops like to be able to see into your yard. They don't want to be hidden by it. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't have a chance to talk to Andy about this. I'm not going to oppose it. I'm just going to express my concerns about what's going on. I will support what the majority supports here, but
So
I
Jim,
didn't know that the Great Fence was going to be extended beyond, you know, to block a portion of the historic structure, which I enjoy watching. I mean, granted, Andy can put up a wrought iron fence or something opaque and put plants up and stuff like that. That's fine. I'm not going to oppose what he's already gotten approved, but I'm just trying to think of, you know, he's sitting on the best looking building in the neighborhood that is, you know, everyone wants to oogle. And I just wanted to kind of point out that you can't oogle it through a great stake fence. So, and not that you can oogle it through one that's got great vines on it or anything like that either. But I'm struggling with this. And as I said, I'm gonna support what the majority of the board supports. I gotta live next to Andy and I wanna support what he's doing. He's got his hands full getting this project done and I don't want to impede on that, but I just kind of want to make my observations known.
Hey, Jim, I think there's an important distinction, at least that we typically make, and I think it's in our design guidelines. And that has to do with what's considered the front of the house versus the side of the house.
Yeah,
And a corner lot obviously sort of changes that a little bit.
Yeah, but this is not a normal corner lot.
No, I totally agree. And I think we, the board to some degree have some sort of jurisdiction, if you will, over that. But in the reason why I'm okay with a fence in this area at that height is because it doesn't obscure the entire house from that street. And it really, I mean, by the letter of the law, given where the front door is, I think you can pretty strongly consider it the side yard. But I did think through that just for your awareness.
All right, well, I mean, Andy's gonna need a fence around his whole yard someday. It's the nature of our neighborhood. You really cannot live in our neighborhood anymore without a fenced yard and
Well, there's
we
rules.
can't
on
have a great fenced yard around the whole thing, so I would like to think.
no,
No, there's rules on
Anticipate
height.
what his needs are.
There's rules on height and opacity for the front yards versus side and backyards.
Yeah.
So 4 foot max in the front yard. That changes up to 6, up to 10 in the backyard. So,
As I said, I'm not gonna object to this. I'm just offering my,
right. Well, so what I'm saying is you're saying he's gonna someday want to add a fence all the way around, and this wood fence would not get approved all the way around. So that's sort of a moot point. I think we should vote. Do we want to vote on the 2 fences separately? Make 2 separate motions for them? How do we want to?
Before the vote goes in, if I had my position, I just thought it'd be kind of neat to be able to go ahead and put the stone wall back to what I think it should be, but more so the fence being moved gives us another 8 feet, and the planters there, that's going to be more valuable than anything else. And so if I had my position, that's what I would do, is move the wooden fence. And then you guys can go ahead and decide about the stone wall itself. And Betsy, I thought about the idea about someone standing on it, but someone's going to be able to go ahead and get through anything at this point if they really want to. But that was a consideration, but the wooden fence would be first in my category. Thank you.
So what do you think, Rick? Do we need to separate these out as separate motions, the windows, the greenhouse?
yeah, so for starters, I think to where Betsy's going, everything else I think we're fine with. I think, the only things we've got is a comment that the one window that doesn't have a call out for being a 2.0 by 4.0 we want to overtly say that's what it needs to be. But I think we were good with all the other stuff, the greenhouse and the other features. So that's probably a clean thing we can make a motion on. And then separate out this fence issue. So with that, can one of us go ahead?
I was just
Yeah,
curious, do we even have a say on where the fence is placed as long as it's set back enough? Is that even something that,
That's a good point.
I mean, I wouldn't ask the board where to put my fence as long as it's not on the sidewalk.
We usually locate them on a site plan and show how tall they are, and that's their location is usually reviewed. I wouldn't mind just having you guys, make a motion, have somebody make a motion on the set as it's presented and see where that goes. And then we can start to parse out the rock wall if we need to.
I think the
Okay,
only
I was just making
reason,
sure.
Betsy, that this is a little bit more confusing, and it's kind of what Jim and Damon were kind of getting at, was we have sort of different understandings and like requirements for height on fencing for the front versus the side, which I think is
Yeah,
why
for sure.
it's gonna be more of a conversation. But since this fence isn't really blocking a majority of the main view of the house, the argument could be made that this is a side application versus a front yard application. And so it could meet those standards of a side yard going up to the 6-foot height. So really, code
But
wise,
the placement of it doesn't.
I don't think we have the right to say whether or not they can put the fence where they want from a code standpoint on height requirements. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at. Thank you for.
Yeah.
I will move that we accept what's been presented.
It's Rachel, Sarah, I second.
Right, we have a motion and we have a second. Let's do a roll call on this one.
Do we need to add the clarification on the 2-foot by 4-foot window?
I'll accept that clarification.
I second that. I don't know if I need to.
All right, we have another motion, another second. So with that, let's do a roll call. Betsy,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Darcy,
No.
no. Rachel,
Aye.
all right. Damon,
No.
no, so that's interesting. All right, this is Rick. I hate to complicate these things, but I'm a no too. I'm struggling like some of us are with the rock wall.
Darcy, you said it was 4-1.
Well,
I said it was
All right.
4-1 on the walls. You're the one that wanted to clump this. This is
So
what happened.
Andy.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're willing to not do the rock wall, but you want to move the wood fence.
Yeah, let's visit that rock wall scenario another day, but the
Let's
fence
do
would
the,
be fantastic.
let's remove the rock wall from the proposal,
okay,
but we're moving the wood fence.
So can we do it?
let's do another motion. Yeah,
Also move with the clarification on the window
And removing the rock wall.
and not the rock wall.
and not not modifying the rock wall at all.
Okay,
Okay, can I do the motion?
yep, please do.
This is Darcy Hazelbaker, and I motion to approve the proposal as presented. That the proposed door and window changes on the addition are approved with the understanding that the south elevation new window is to be 2 feet by 4 feet. I motion to approve the greenhouse proposal, and I motion to approve the wood fence portion relocation. And the board agrees that the rock wall extension to be removed from this proposal.
And
Excellent.
just to clarify, that 2 foot by 4 foot is one of the windows that we're not modifying. Like, so I don't want the next review committee to be like, oh, the shower window needs to be 2 foot by 4 foot.
Oh,
The new window on the south elevation, I thought there was only one.
no, there's two
Before
windows.
you
One,
continue this discussion, can we get a second? to
Rachel,
Darcy?
Sarah, I second.
Thank you.
That's the one. Isn't that the south
So-
elevation? There's only that
Yeah,
one.
He's talking about this one down here that's not pink.
yeah, the one that's
that's
not
the one
called
that's going to
out.
be 2 foot by 4 foot, and then the pink one's the 2 foot by 3 foot. I just want to, when it gets read in text, they won't understand.
Right,
Why did you open it for him?
I mean, I can say the unnoted window.
there you go, unnoted, there you go.
The south elevation unnoted new window per the plan.
Perfect.
Per, what sheet is this?
What sheet is this?
G4.
G4.
Okay, I second that.
All right, motion and a second. Let's do another roll call.
Wait, discussion.
Discussion, yes?
So I'm still having issues with the fence. Sorry, Andy. Sorry, everyone. You know, the fence is shown only going to the driveway. The driveway has a sliding fence that would require it to remain in place for it to function as it does today. I don't have a cursor to be able to show what the issue is, but
Here's the sliding fence.
correct.
Here's the existing fence.
And
And then this red line here is where the new fence will be.
right, so how does the sliding fence work?
It slides back this distance.
Okay, and then what, there'll be a fence from the old fence to the sliding fence, or? I think I appreciate the fence to come back for another.
Hey, Jim, I can clarify. So exactly what Bill was saying, exactly where the T is in the planter, PLANTER. That's exactly where the fence line, the 8-foot mark. Bill, you want to go ahead and mark the T on the planter? That's what we're talking about, is that exact mark right there going down 8 feet. So we would go ahead and extend that fence line straight down and over. And it's just that area, Jim. It's not anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what's confusing people is the thick red line below there.
And what is the
And
thick red?
That's the rock wall, so it's unrelated
rock
to the
wall.
wood fence.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well. Okay, yeah,
Bill marked it pretty clearly regarding the fence line to be able to go ahead and move that specific area. And only that area. So it's an 8-foot area that is going to be moved. So it's 32 feet of fencing that moves 8 feet to the south. And that's what it is right there.
Jim, did you have something you don't like?
yeah, but I'm gonna support what Andy needs to do, so he's struggling enough. He doesn't need me to mess with his plan, so. But it's just gonna be goofy to have a step in the fence like that. But I've seen goofy stuff before.
Yeah,
That's goofy all the time.
It's going to be a corner fenced area. I really thought about exactly how we were going to go ahead and do it. And that gives it more of an area to go ahead and be able to put a really cool plant over there as a corner.
Yeah, we won't see it. It's behind the fence.
No, you're going to see it because you're going to be on the outside of the corner. You'll see it every single day when you come by.
Oh, okay, I see where you're putting it. As I said, Andy, I'm not going to object to this. I'm just expressing my perspective, so.
Okay, so we can do roll call because nothing's changed, correct?
I believe that's correct, yes. All right, Betsy,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
okay, Darcy,
Aye.
all right, Rachel,
Aye.
Damon,
Aye.
aye, and this is Rick, aye. Now we have unanimous. Okay. Good discussion. I think we're good.
Everyone, thank you very much.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Bill.
Always a pleasure to see every one of you.
Thanks, neighbors. Have a beautiful evening.
Have a beautiful evening. All right. Welcome, Jody. So item 5, staff updates. So Gabe or Jody, do you have any staff updates?
We do not. There are no staff updates at this point.
No staff updates, cool. And item 6, future agenda items.
The 620 North 6th Avenue will be coming back to you next month.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, that's the one I have for you right now.
All right. Okay, with that, we're up to item 7, adjournment. Have a motion to adjourn. Jim,
Also move.
okay, second.
I
Second,
second
Betsy.
Dan.
Perfect.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay, we started half hour late. We finished 20 minutes early. That's good.
Oh, thanks, Rich.
Thanks, everybody, for your
All right.
understanding.
Yep, have a good night.
Night.
Hey, Jody, for you.